Melv, 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 melv. Tin, tin, tin. Melv, 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 melv. Tin, tin, tin. Welcome everyone. It is 6 p.m. and it's time for the server room show. This is episode 21. Thank you for STF Public Access Unix system for hosting the server. This new show is recorded and broadcasted live at Andronix radio station every Saturday at 6 p.m. UTC time. There is a voice over IP phone line active during the show. You can call it either from a regular phone or via SIP. The number is +1 910 665 9191. The SIP account to call in at is 261 414 at sanjose2.voip.ms. The 2 is as in the number 2. I would like to thank for everyone who tuned in today and also the people who listens to this in a form of a recording. As this is live, all the blobs and errors are left in. No cuts, no buts, it is raw material. Today's topic actually is several smaller things I want to talk about instead of one big topic as I usually do. First of all, anyone even realized that last Saturday I did the show 1 hour ahead of schedule as I messed up this UTC time and CET time difference, which is applied where I live and doing the show from. Actually, what happened that when the hour was changed to the summertime, the daylight saving, we stepped into a +2 hour difference compared to UTC, and previously it was a +1. So that's where my confusion came from. So last Saturday actually I did the show 1 hour and ahead. I edited the episode, I uploaded the video to the PeerTube instance, and the FLAC file for download and the MP3 for the podcast platforms. And then I realized that it was not even my time, so probably some people lost the chance to listen to that one live. That was episode 20, which you can find on those links I just mentioned. I always try to remind everyone that the contact details are in the show notes, which you can find if you go to anonradio.net website and you click on the DJs tab and you look up TSR the server room show, and there you can find all the actual and previous show notes, and in the very end of all of them I leave all the contact details. And it is also on Mastodon, the server room show, where you can see the links for downloading the FLAC episodes or to go to watch the video recordings of the live shows, and where you can find the show notes and the contact details like email or the phone number or the voice over IP SIP extension. So I always try to remember to remind everyone, the reason being that I normally receive no feedback, so hopefully no more confusion with UTC and CET time. Actually, I'm trying to request to move my slot from this 6 p.m. UTC time to 3 p.m. UTC time, and the moment it's fixed and written in stone, I will let everyone know on those channels. So hopefully people from this side of the continent can enjoy this a bit more comfortable in the afternoon, instead of having to wait for the very evening, like It's 8 o'clock now where I am doing this from. So today, instead of one big topic, I have a couple of smaller things written out. These are mostly things I came across these days, and I was using it and I found it useful. The first one is coming out from the loss or the lack, better to say. The previously on the Samsung phones, and probably many of you know, we had an option called DeX mode and Samsung DeX, which was allowing you to run Linux, full-fledged Linux operating system on your Samsung device, phone or tablet. I think it was running a Ubuntu as a base system. I think it was working very well, and actually my reason to upgrade to a Samsung phone, a flagship phone, was to be able to use Samsung DeX. But thanks to Samsung, they killed the project, so there is no more no more way officially on Samsung phones or any other to run Linux like backed by a company like Samsung on their own devices. Only third-party options existed, and I came across Andronix, which uses Termux, which is another application on Android, to achieve pretty much the same. Termux we already had in Android phones. It's kind of like a shell, Linux shell on its own, and the terminal emulator, and this is what Andronix is using to leverage from this application Termux, and they use their own build for ARM devices, and they put it in a shell script way, so actually it's pretty easy to use. You can just copy out 2 lines of commands, which all it does that it sets some default values up. It pulls down root file system. You can even choose if you want Fedora or Debian, Arch Linux. I show you actually in a second. I have my phone here. Actually, we can do that for the first. I bring this one here. So on the Andronix application, it's very easy to use. Really just copy paste out a couple of commands, if I'm able to handle my own phone. The people who looking at my screen probably Andronix. It's free, but you can pay I think €1.50 if you want to have their they call this modded operating systems, which they try to put together with extra applications. Actually, I think on the info part it even says, yeah, they modded operating systems. It costs €1.50, I think, per piece. They have customized the user interface. They have already Microsoft VS Code working on it. It also has JetBrains IDEs already there. It has wallpapers, Python, C, C++, Java, Ruby, all these languages already set up for you. So you don't get just a plain operating system, what you would get if you chose to go with these other ones they offer. Ubuntu, Debian, Arch, Fedora, Manjaro, Alpine, I don't even know which logo is that one, Parrot, and Kali Linux, because these ones, when you start completely from scratch, you download those two applications, Andronix and Termux, and you select the OS of your choice, and in a two-step installation process you can just copy out a code, paste it into Termux, it downloads the root file system for that chosen operating system, it configures it up, it installs those basic packages, and after once it's done, you have to come back to Andronix again from Termux and select which desktop environment you would like to use. Normally it offers you XFC, LXD, Mate, LXQT, and when you copy the desired one out, with that paste that code back into Termux, and it will install the selected desktop environment under the base Linux system you just selected and installed for yourself. In just two more words, it leaves you like a two-step process to use it each time when you need it. You will find in Termux, if you do a ls, that it leaves a starting .sh script for you for the operating system you installed, for the Linux system of your choice, and you just launch this one. It lands you inside of the chosen operating system, and then you only have one step left. All these systems from Andronix, their cooks or their modded builds, as well as the free ones, so to say, all of them comes with the VNC server already baked into their image, their root image. So the only thing you have left is to each time when you need this, you do a VNC server dash start, and then if it starts properly, without if you don't have, for example, a dormant session or a sleeping session behind, then it will tell you I started the VNC server on display -0 or -1, so you can now connect to it and use the username and password you set up when you launched the install script, and it asked you for user and password you want to use. And now to the system you installed, you can connect either from your own Android phone or tablet, based on which one you use, or in my case I will switch now my window. You can just take note of your IP address of your, in this case, as you see my screen, I connected to this Debian Andronix modded instance is running on my Samsung simple A50 phone, which is a cheap €200 phone with 4 gigs of RAM, and you can see it has like 69% of the memory being used without many things being open, but like a browser and Vim, and I think I even have Emacs here. And I'm connecting to it from my computer, and the phone is next to me, and I don't need to interact on the small screen. I can just VNC into, in this case, to my phone, which runs this Linux instance on my phone with the help of Termux, and help of these Andronix scripts. It's surprisingly much more fluid than I expected my own slow 200 euro phone to be, and it was a nice it is a nice experience actually, and I will have to use this more, because I can always carry it in my pocket, as you see, either on a cheap 200 euro phone or tablet, and it is always there. And each time I need it, I make sure I launch the VNC server instance inside Termux. Now the people who look at my screen, you can see this. This is the message you get in Termux after you see VNC server -start. It tells you it makes you choose of the resolution you want to use. I chose Full HD when it asked me, and it told me, okay, so new remote desktop started on :1 on machine localhost, and I just need to use my default password and account for my account, Victor Madaras. If I come back in a few days and I have this VNC server not responding or anything, I can do a VNC server -stop, and I can do a -start again, and then it just continues, no problem. And I can go on with any other applications in the meantime. I don't need to bother about closing these two, or you see I have Brave browser open here, no problem. So I was surprised on the performance, to be honest. As it's ARM build, I saw on when I read about it, I could use, I think, many applications from the ones which built or repositories which are prepared for the Raspberry Pis, but I didn't try them myself. Media performance I didn't try, because I'm not sure it's for that. I'm into watch a video or watch a YouTube, because I could just do that on native Android apps. But like for browsing, like going to my own website, it's I think it's very good. I don't have any problems. It works perfectly, and I could do what I need to do on this one, which fits into my pocket. So this was Andronix and Termux. The second thing, the second thing, which the ones who looked at my screen, the way I was able to show you my phone's screen and interact with it was thanks to an application called Scrcpy, which stands for Scrcpy. It's I left the GitHub link in the show notes. It uses ADP tools of Android to connect to your phone and display the screen. You can connect via USB or via wireless. I used USB because it's said on their website that when you do screen sharing or screen recording, like in my case, it's a better performance and less lag with USB than using wireless. So that was the reason I used that. And some of you probably I've already seen that I'm using GNOME extension to interact more or less with my phone wirelessly, being on the same wireless, which is called GS Connect, which is using KDA Connect and 100% compatible with KDA Connect. but under GNOME. It let's say it does enough what I need. I can see how my battery is. I can mount and have access to my phone's both internal memory and also the SD card. I can share link or documents back and forth between I can send items back and forth between the phone and the computer. I can toggle do not disturb, which is not that important. One of the features I like the most, apart from notifications, mostly native notifications showing up on my screen from my phone, is the ring feature, with what I can send ringing, launch ringing on the phone. So if I don't know where I put my phone, it helps me to find it because the phone starts ringing. I can also use it to interact with the phone's keyboard remotely. So I could have my phone in front of me, but I could type from the computer. At certain moments it could be useful, but maybe not that much. I could also use it to respond and check normal SMS messages from what I've received on the phone. And I'm sure it has even more settings than I just told you. I just probably don't remember all of them, but that's the reason why I left the link for it in the show notes. And yes, one of the best features I like is to access the internal memory and the micro SD card, and to be able to send like files. If I want to send a PDF file to my phone from the computer, or from the phone to the computer, I can easily do that. And on the phone side, each time, if for example I play a YouTube video or something in the browser, the play, pause and next buttons are become visible on my mobile, so I could play, pause it. Yeah, sometimes I can imagine that becoming useful. I hope that they will not stop developing and working more on this, because if you look at where Apple is with the integration of their iPhones to their operating system, and that Microsoft is trying to push now under Windows, the My Phone app, or Your Phone app it's called, I think Linux can also do better in this sense, and this is definitely a step even more forward. So now it's not just a function which you can use for KDE strictly, but you can use it now under GNOME. Another thing, two things probably, the Brave browser, which is another Chromium based browser with built-in ad blocker and tracking blocker. It definitely uses less memory than Chrome, and someone told me in the chat in SDF why I'm suffering with Chrome, and my reasoning was that I have those certain Chrome extensions I'm using, and they told me just pick up a Chromium based browser, no problem. But somehow I had bad memories with Chromium from the very beginning, but indeed since then a long time has passed, and so far Brave browser works well for me. The extensions I wanted to use works. It also has those internal ad blockers and tracking blockers I just mentioned. It has some pay for surfing model which many people criticized, and to be honest, I think it is something if you want to toggle and use it, you use it, and if you don't, you don't. It's the features or the feature called the Brave Rewards, which shows you ads, it presents you ads which they select from certain parties, not intrusive ads, and it tries to compensate you to click on those ads. Actually, they show up in a form of a pop-up, and you click on it and it opens a new link. Proton VPN, Proton Mail, Amazon, this kind of things. So nothing very big thing. I think it's somewhere on the website says that the maximum monthly compensation you can reach with this module or model is like $5 or something. So if someone wants to give it a try, he or she will do, and someone who doesn't care about these things, pues they don't care, no problem. Another thing, probably HR, which is called Balena HR now, which probably you already used when you were recording on microSD for your Raspberry Pi projects or similar. It's Balena HR is a great application to write those things you need to write on. I use it for writing things to a micro SD card. You could use it to write it on a USB pen drive as well. It's similar like Rufus on Windows. And now these people, actually the brand Balena, they have a lot of additional things, not just Balena HR. One of them is BalenaSound, which is straight out competitor for Volumio. I mentioned once in when I talked about what I run on my Raspberry Pi 0W, and actually I was trying to set it up, but I'm on 80% and I still have to figure out why I don't see the Bluetooth or showing up my Raspberry Pi 0W with BalenaSound as a Wi-Fi speaker, but probably I will talk more about this when I manage to work it out 100%. I just spent, I think, maybe an hour with this, but it's very well documented and it is interesting. You could go to their website balena.io and you can see all the other things they have. This BalenaSound they do with Balena OS, which is helping you to run containers on embedded computing devices like the Raspberry Pi. Actually, they also sell their own Raspberry Pi compute module carrier board, which is called BalenaFin, and they target exactly the IT, industrial IT. Therefore, the price is quite steep and high. I was quite surprised. Base model was like 140 euros, I think, with 1 gigabyte of RAM. But you can go and read about it, BalenaFin on balena.io. It's interesting if someone needs professional grade boards and he or she cannot use something as simple as a Raspberry Pi, needs something more serious. So yeah, BalenaSound is a direct competitor to Volumio, which had issues. Interface was failing lately, and that's why I was looking into another Bluetooth AirPlay and Spotify audio streaming device to put together from that Raspberry Pi 0W. And the last thing I wanted to mention is I don't know how many you guys are Spanish out there. We are trying to revive the FreeBSD user group for Spain. So if someone is interested to get in contact with that part of the group, we're trying to revive for BSD user group in Spain. You can contact me on those channels on Mastodon or on the email, and I can try to tell you more about it. The time is up. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next Saturday.